Praful Bohra from Religare is now joining us on a phone line. Praful, what do you make of the Lupin numbers? Clearly a margin surprise coming in. Praful, can you hear me? Okay. Praful, can you hear me? What led the beat as far as Lupin is concerned?
So I think the revenue was in line. I think it was probably the EBITDA line where the beat was. So the margin of 25% odd, I think that's one thing to look at. I mean, which is significantly above estimate. I think the estimate was somewhere around 20 to 23%, and I think there's a clear 200 bp improvement. The second thing to note is, some of this may also be driven by higher other operating income, which is there. So I think this quarter, the other operating income is significantly high. So, some part of the margin upside is also driven by this.
Right. The other operating income for a company like Lupin, what does it generally include, Praful?
So it's largely the licensing income, but we'll have to check if they have reported some sort of a forex gain or something like that.
Right, but say even if you were to look at without the other operating income, which is about 180 odd crores, the numbers are not a disappointment, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So numbers are not very disappointing. I think it's broadly in line if I were to exclude the higher other operating income.
Right. So Praful, now let's just put things into context. Now we had Torrent Pharma, great set of numbers. Cadila was okay, but it was better than estimates. And Lupin also, you're saying at least it's not bad. That much you can confirm. Even if there is a one-off in the other operating income, it's not a bad set of numbers. The concerns about pharma numbers coming in were slightly overdone in the last 45 days?
Yeah, I think so. If you look at the numbers, I think the expectations were already low. So I think on those low expectations, I think definitely some of the companies have beaten the estimates. I think that's likely to continue because 4Q is going to be better for a lot of companies, including Lupin and Pharma.
Right. Praful, the management would be talking in now, except for the other operating income, which of course does need explanation. Anything else that you would look out for? How has the US business done in this quarter? Is it broadly in line with what you were expecting?
I am yet to look at the details, but I think the key here would be the contribution from generic Fortimet because there were some price hikes which were taken in. What we need to know is how much of the price hike is actually flown into the earnings.
Right, and that you feel could have led to the margin beat?
Yes, definitely. That could be one of the reasons.
Right, and the outlook on the US market, they have always said that H2 would be better. I think markets did not believe it after 6 months when they gave the commentary. You think now their outlook for Q4 or probably 2016 would become important because markets would start taking note of that?
So Q4 would definitely be better because they had the Glumetza launch on the 1st of Feb. I think going forward, I think Glumetza would probably drive the earnings for the next 6 months and we would see probably a good first half for them. And then second half, we're expecting a couple of approvals to trickle in. So probably I think things would start looking up for Lupin's US business going forward.
Right. Praful, for the last 4-5 years, pharma has been in a sweet spot. And in the last 3 months, it's essentially first time that there is a scare that pharma may not outperform going ahead. Looking in at the numbers of the 3-4 companies, you think there is no reason to panic?
So I think the concerns are not totally unfounded. I think there were some concerns related to the FDA issues and all. I think, but my sense these are all transitionary in nature. So you look at the slightly longer term ahead. I think it would be a good time to accumulate pharma given the weakness.
Right. Just a last word on the currency benefit. Is that something which the markets are currently ignoring?
So Lupin has exposure in yen. So they have around 11-12% of their revenue coming in Japanese yen. So I think that is actually worked in favor of them. So and Lupin's exposure to some of the other emerging markets is relatively lower. So I don't think so. Currency would probably hit them on a negative side because they have a huge US exposure, and also the Japanese yen would have helped them.
Right. Praful, thank you so much for taking out time for us, and we'll hope to get back in touch with you once we have the management commentary.